Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Raw Recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet, on the heels of a fantastic Memorial Day with a certain pay-per-view event that we won't get too deep into, but that pretty got people, a lot of people back in love with what professional wrestling can be. But hey, this is the Raw Recap. I'm your host, John Rocha, joined as always by the CEO of the Pro Wrestling Sheet there, Ryan Satin. How are you?
I'm great. I was going to say it was a good Memorial Day for some of us, but not for you, apparently, based on what I just learned right before we started recording. Mr. Messed up his calf muscle at Schmodown.
Well, let's talk about too much of that. And also had to go to urgent care to get some steroids. But look, who cares? There was fantastic professional wrestling over the weekend, but today we're talking about the Raw stuff from last night. Go ahead.
Yeah, for Double or Nothing, I don't want people to think like I'm ignoring
Are we
Double or
allowed
Nothing.
to speak about it?
No,
Okay.
I'm going to be, I guess by the time this airs, I will have already done it. But
people can still watch it later.
I'm going to be on Collider Live. It'll be, when this comes out, it'll be out. Well, yeah, it'll have already happened, so you can go back on the Collider or the Collider Live YouTube channel and go check it out. But I'm also, for this channel, going to be doing a full rundown, full review with Jen Sturger.
Nice.
This one. Yeah, she was also there, but she was also kind of, I think she might have been behind the scenes, so maybe she'll have some insight into things or some inside info. We'll find out. Last time I remember she was on a podcast, it was here with Collider. That's when she talked about CM Punk being backstage at the press conference. So who knows what we'll find out with Jen on this week's show about Double or Nothing. But we'll have a brief moment to talk about Double or Nothing as well, because it's not like it was not mentioned on this show.
It was fantastic. It's great stuff. Yeah, exactly. You want to talk about it at the end? So
we'll get to it when we get to it. It's not there yet.
Sounds good. All right.
Teaser.
Well, yeah, teaser. There you go. All right. So the whole thing started. The whole, was on a Memorial Day. So WWE loves these military holidays. They go all out with these incredible packages, interviewing people who served. Kind of their way of respecting the service members, but also respecting what it means to serve. And for all my shots and other people's shots to take at WWE, these packages are really well done, and they seem very genuine from a good place. So it was a fantastic way to start this particular Raw.
Well, you being someone who was in the military,
having served,
I'm sure
it does.
My opinion is much less relevant than yours, So I think that for someone like you who did serve, if that's how you feel from it, then it's great that they do that.
They do. I do. And like I said, I take the shots. I know they're not always perfect on the moral ground, or some things they do, but when it comes to honoring the military, they certainly do a good job of that. We step into the situation. Kofi Kingston comes out with the pancakes. Then Seth Rollins comes out. They both want to find out who is going to be the person that Brock Lesnar challenges. Lesnar comes out, does his boombox thing to the tilt, even throws in a little dance in the middle of the ring.
They did like a remix of his song. He had that weird Gasolina sounding song that he was dancing to, which is not the music I would have expected Brock Lesnar to be listening to.
It sounded a little ska-ish, so maybe ska isn't always the right way to go.
No, it sounded like reggaeton. That's the vibe I got from it. That's why I said gasolina. God, I got a gasoline. I had that kind of like that vibe to it. So then before we get into the rest, what do you think of just them kind of going all in on the boombox thing?
I like it. I think it's fun for now. It'll wear out its welcome, I think, really soon. But I think it's a good way to go, and especially the remixing the songs to kind of mess with them and having Rollins storm out of the ring. I thought it was brilliant, because now he's playing with house money. So Lesnar gets to mess with them however he wants, whenever he wants, and it's exactly why they gave him the case.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah. I think that when he came in and he was messing with the coming in and the messing with everyone.
He's supposed to be an instigator and a heel.
And this is like the most nitpicky thing.
All right.
I'll be honest with you, but I have this, the producer in me has this problem when I watch segments like this going like, who did Brock talk to backstage to orchestrate this music off?
Oh, yeah.
First of all, did Heyman go hand the music guy a new CD? Like, hey, this is Brock's remix.
This is what you're going to play when he's out there. This is what you're
going to play. I don't know. And then the switching off of songs thing, I'll be honest, it didn't even register with me at first. Like, I was like, what's he? What are they doing? I'm like, oh, it's because his boombox is playing each person's theme song. Like, maybe it was so low wave thing. I don't know. I just was like, ugh. Like I did groan a little bit when it dawned on me. I was like, oh, got it. Like he's playing different music from his boombox. I don't know. Maybe if there had been like a button on his boombox that he could have like at least done something with. I also I just feel like As much as I like it, a boombox is such an irrelevant item. You know, it's like Brock walking around with an 8-track player at this point. You know?
Oh, no, wait a minute. Now it's not the same as an 8-track player.
A boombox like
boom
this
box
one.
It's got.
Who has a boombox this anymore?
8-track players are made to be made fun of. Boombox still have existence in like street art and whatever. There's still
not in street art. You just made that. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're real connected to the street art community.
There's graffiti when you're driving in LA. You see it all the time on the walls, and I've seen boomboxes on those walls and on the posters.
I hate to break this to you, Rocha, but that was probably 15 years ago because the kids these days who are spray painting are not using boomboxes. They are using headphones.
There's a nostalgia factor to it, is what I'm saying.
Fair. Fair. There is, but I just don't know if the kids they're trying to connect with, if it looks that cool using a boombox all the time.
All right, fair.
Regardless, a lot of people liked it. A lot of people laughed. Yeah. I think a lot of people were into it. I think I would have enjoyed it more if AEW's Double or Nothing had him in the night before, and then not to be the guy comparing all of it, the two companies against each other. They're very different events. One's a pay-per-view that they're coming out with guns blazing. One is a Memorial Day holiday TV episode that's going to be not as watched. I get it. My problem, the reason I say that is because I feel like WWE, regardless of whether you want to say they think it's competition or not, I think WWE should have put their best foot forward last night. Like,
really?
Well, like you just said, you started off this thing saying last night or Memorial Day, there was a pay-per-view that showed people that you could fall in love with wrestling again.
Yeah.
Because of that, because of the people who watched that, I just feel like, they should have tried to put out A+ show. Like, regardless of it being a throwaway holiday episode, they should have been like, hey, you would think it would light a fire under their ass a little bit. And I realize these things are planned weeks in advance, but we always hear about script changes happening as the show is going live. So don't bullshit me and try to be like, oh, these plans have been in place for a while. No, don't. I'm not stupid. You know? Right. So I just feel like this should have been hey, we've got the best product in town.
Well, I feel like all their heavy hitters were on last night. And so they brought them all out and did their thing.
But this first angle, while enjoyable, is it really their best foot forward? Well, Brock Lesnar dancing around, Seth Rollins storming the ring because he thinks it's fucking stupid. Right. Does that, is that...
I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but what would they have done? A 3-way match and all this? Then at that point, they're in essence saying, yes, AEW is competition. Yes, we need to step up our game. Everyone's been right about us all along.
I'm not saying,
and so we're going to change our whole thing so that we can compete with AEW.
I'm not saying reinvent the wheel.
Lowering yourself down.
I'm not saying reinvent the wheel. I'm not saying make all these drastic changes, even though they've been making these drastic changes
supposedly
for months now. Yeah, exactly. But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they should have tried to have the best episode possible.
Now, I hear the logic of what you're saying.
And I think to do that, you need to start off with a bang.
That's it.
And I don't know if this was really the way to start off with a bang to be like, oh man, WWE is they're not back. They're not.
Right.
They saw what happened. They need to fight back. Not necessarily fight back. That's a wrong term.
Right.
But just putting out their best show. And I don't know if this is necessarily. I don't know. To me, this wasn't blowing me away or anything
I get it. And a lot of people, and of course, AEW chants broke out. This is awful chants broke out, which will later in Shane's match. But certainly this kind of thing is interesting to explore because AEW timed this Double or Nothing pay-per-view at the right time. I mean, the right time.
They did.
Because the WWE is not going to come off with some incredible show on Memorial Day. And they got Super Showdown coming up, which a lot of people have issues with. And then you have...
And this is generally a time that is boring in WWE.
Yeah, right, exactly. So they made the move when they made the move. The thing is, you can get all the shots you want at the beginning. Who's going to be standing when it's all over? That's what matters.
Oh, of course.
And so the WWE right now in their minds is just staying the course and doing their thing. Their fans aren't going to run in mass to AEW and leave them. Not now. Not yet.
No.
But maybe down the road. And down the road, AEW, if it's successful, will find itself in the same position maybe 2 years from now when people are bashing their house shows.
Yeah, but
so there's possibilities here. And praising a WWE pay-per-view.
Absolutely. But you also at the same time can act like WWE is not caring at all because clearly
of course they do.
It was
I think they have a longer picture plan.
Forever before they acknowledged TNA on television. Yes. Honestly, it wasn't until TNA was dead in the water and ever being a chance of being competition where they kind of referred to them as an afterthought company, you know? And then maybe there's one or two I'm missing, but in my mind, I can't recall it happening until way late, like until recently.
Yep.
So I don't know. They mentioned AEW on TV last night.
Did.
Like we said, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's not like they're not aware of what's going on. So I just felt like, I don't know. I just felt like, and obviously Brock's storyline is something that they've been working on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like they could have. I'm not the guy writing the show. It's not my job to sit here and coach. But I just feel like they could have put a more compelling product compelling story forward.
I don't disagree with you. I think the thing that I think saved it was Ziggler. Ziggler coming out, attacking, doing the things that he did, Xavier Woods and him going at it, and then Kofi coming down to save him. I thought all of that worked, and Ziggs getting on the mic, doing his business. Bloody. Yeah, it was great. So I think they knew with Lesnar, they're hamstrung. There's only so much he's going to do, and only so much that he wants to do. And so he'll do those things, did his business, messed everybody up, then left. And, gave the preview for what he's going to talk about later on, who he was going to challenge for the Money in the Bank. And then Ziggler is the thing they were trying to push. Lesnar's already established. The Ziggs thing is new. So they focused on that. And I thought that saved the whole thing overall. But of course, I hear your point. Absolutely. You'd like him to come back with a pay-per-view style of house show, which I thought some of these matches could have been on pay-per-views.
Oh, they put good matches forward.
Yeah.
But also, let's not forget that there was about an hour before we even got wrestling on the show.
It's true. That was surprising to me.
And that was another one where you go like, guys, you just had these people who are clearly throwing shots at you. Cody Rhodes destroyed a Triple H-like throne. Right. They took one of your top guys who you had been grooming since day one and had treated so well, and you've made a millionaire. He then left and threw a middle finger at you guys. These are real things that are happening. One of your backstage producers straight up quit just so he could go to the competition. These are things that are happening. And I know that like you said, they're going to keep course. They've got tons of money.
That's just how they are.
They don't need to do anything different. Yep. But I don't know.
Not yet. I guess not. But like WCW, they were still like WWE, when WCW did their things, WWE was still stuck with like the earthquake and tornado and all that, those old weird kind of things that carried over from the 80s. It took WCW like waking them up with their stuff to eventually bring on the Attitude Era.
Of course.
And so we'll see how this plays out, if there's similar notes that are going to be struck between these two as they compete. Because AEW, with a TV show now, with people coming over, like you said, with JR calling those matches, this is legitimate competition. Is it at the level? No, but it doesn't mean they can't climb up. Hey, Leon Spinks knocked down Muhammad Ali after only 7 fights. It can happen. So you just never know with this kind of situation. I like it was a promising start for AEW. We'll see how long they can carry it, because eventually egos are going to get involved. Money's going to get too much involved. People's desire for the spotlight is going to get involved.
All pessimistic Rocha over here.
People are going to sleep with each other's husbands or wives. Shit's going to go down.
Why are people?
I'm just telling you.
People going to sleep with each other's wives?
It's humanity.
This isn't Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
It isn't. We know how it is in pro wrestling. Shit's going to go down between people, and then we'll see how they survive it.
People go sleep with each other's wives.
They do. I mean, it's true. They do it in football too. They do it at all levels of sports. So anyway,
wait, but back before we move on, I really did like the Dolph Ziggler thing. I liked that, like you said, much more than the start of the show. I felt like I'm into this new thing they're doing with Dolph. I like blood. I'm sorry if that makes you weird, but blood and wrestling does kind of always look cool. It is cool. As evidenced at Double or Nothing when Dustin was just like gushing blood.
I love that guy, man.
Yeah.
I love Dustin.
And so, I forgot. I lost track where I was going with that. The blood thing. Yeah. I like the blood, so I thought it really made it feel much more intense. I thought it had it added the extra element to it, especially after seeing the blood Double or Nothing. It was kind of like it's kind of cool to see blood back on a little bit on Raw, even though we've seen it a little more lately. Yeah. I feel like Dolph Ziggler has been very effective in the quick burst we've been giving him before.
I've been very happy to see this. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes down. And then, of course, we go right into the toilet with a Shane McMahon versus Lance Anoa'i match, who was a cousin of who was a cousin of Roman Reigns. This was, I don't know what the point of this was. And fans rightfully chanted them out of the building with "This is awful," and I think there were some AEW chants.
I'm wondering if the AEW chants are going to replace the CM Punk chants.
Oh, good. I don't mind if they do that.
Me too. At least it'd be like
they can't bar everybody out. They can't kick everybody out of the thing.
No, but at least it would be more impactful. Like CM Punk, cool, you're chanting for a guy who's not around.
Yeah.
AEW, you're chanting for someone who is around.
You know, it'd be great. Saudi Arabia AEW chants in Saudi Arabia would be insane.
I feel like the Saudi Arabian
I think they
fan base probably isn't aware of AEW.
But you don't think
so? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. You're probably right. But what was the point of this? This was ridiculous.
Well, this is more like what I was saying, the best foot forward thing.
Yeah,
you know,
this
like
is terrible.
You go like this, and honestly, and maybe this is conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat Ryan here,
sure.
but I go, the Rhodes legacy was played up so highly at AEW.
Right.
And then he comes out and starts talking about the Samoan legacy in WWE, the Alpha and the Sika and everyone, and like, you know, talking about what High Chief Peter Maivia and like all that kind of stuff, and The Rock, and I almost wondered if it was like, hey, we've got a deep history too of people. You know, it's not just.
And then we're going to crap on it.
And then we're going to crap
Which
on it.
Which makes no sense. That's the thing. It would have been great to go forward with that.
That was the message. Hey, don't take it personally, Rhodes family. We crap on all legacies here.
All legacies. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, and Lance is a good wrestler.
Is he a developmental guy?
He wrestles in MLW.
Oh, okay.
And he wrestles in different independents and stuff like that. But I don't think he's quite, ready for TV. I shouldn't say ready for TV. I don't think he's quite ready for the main roster yet. I think he did stand out a little bit. Although he did look a lot like Roman Reigns. And I could very much see them using him in like an Eric Angle type role where it's like he's just kind of around to help fill out the Samoan dynasty or whatever. Right. So yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it, but it was one of those situations where I just thought, well, one, is this interesting? And two, like, guys, like you've got someone nipping at your heels. You've got the whole. I'm sorry. There are a lot of wrestling pay-per-views that happen. Yeah. Where nobody watched it. Or I shouldn't say nobody, but not every single wrestling personality was on their radar and like, hey, we should probably tune into this and see what's up. Yep. I would say almost everyone I've talked to in the wrestling industry watched it or watched it after the fact because they want to know if their money were, if AEW put their money where their mouth is. And so, and they did. Almost everyone that watched it that I've seen, 95% of people that I've seen were very happy with it, enjoyed it. So this is one of those segments where I go, this is what you want to like. This is what you want to like. Be like, hey, this is our thing. This is what we call professional wrestling or sports entertainment. You know, and I too much Shane lately. I'm sorry. Like I agree. Like Shane isn't good at 24. Like he's not the most strong character right now in WWE, and he's used way too much. And then we went from this half-hour segment with the dancing and the remix Brock to this, which wasn't really a match because Drew McIntyre pulled him out, they beat him up, then Roman Reigns comes down, they fight back, whatever. Then we went right back into the exact same segment from the first hour. That blew my mind. I go like, really, we waited for an hour for a match. We got Shane versus Lance Anoa'i. Yeah. And then we went back into the same segment with Brock. Was it? Am I crazy for that?
No, it was ridiculous. Yeah, I thought it was weird. I'm like, why are we doing this now? And all it did was once again show that Rollins wants Brock in a straight up match, and doesn't want to be surprised by it. He just won't take him on. And then, but the weird thing I thought was funny was him slamming Heyman's face with the contract.
It's only fun. Look, I'll be honest. The segment made me. To be honest with you, this is how they should have opened the show.
Yeah, great point.
They didn't need that whole stupid. They could have even condensed these two things and had them all happen at the end of the show. Yeah. Where Brock goes, "Wait, what?
Yeah,
I got a year. Yeah, later's," and like everyone would be mad. I don't know. That would have been better to me than two really long segments. Yeah, that show that like wrestling is not the point of WWE, and that's not a good thing to show to everyone. I get it, sports entertainment, whatever, but
you gotta have a healthy mix.
You've got wrestling fans there, you know, and like even me, I love all this stuff, but I do think that like in a moment like last night where everyone was expecting them to like put on an A show, this was a weird way of doing it. Because I mean, I did laugh. I loved the idea of Brock Lesnar not watching wrestling, so even he doesn't even know that he has a year on his contract for the Money in the Bank. Like literally everybody knows the Money in the Bank contract lasts a year, but Brock Lesnar's like, oh, I have no idea. I don't watch wrestling. Didn't read the contract. I have no idea. I was told to go out there, do my thing, did it. The slapping of Paul Heyman, all that was hilarious. I just felt like repeating the same segment an hour later was like,
Yeah.
what? I was
the
almost
same
wondering,
point.
what was the point?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's true.
But I really hope that this isn't all swerve. I'm going to be so mad if all this is a swerve and he's still wrestling Seth at Super Showdown, and that like even the Baron Corbin win later, somehow they get out of it and it's going to be...
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to have Lesnar off the sushi. Maybe he'll show up to mess with Seth.
I hope.
But
because it makes so much more sense for him to show up on the first episode of Smackdown on Fox and cash in the belt.
Exactly.
Have Pyro back that night.
Yeah.
Have Brock cash in. That's how you make the Smackdown show, the A show, when it goes to Fox.
Good point. Yeah. Well, let's move on. Hey, remember your tag team champions? They actually fought.
They're back.
They're back. The Iconics are back. They ended up taking on Nikki Cross and Becky Lynch, which is weird. I thought Nikki was with Alexa Bliss, but now apparently...
Well, Alexa's injured, though.
Yeah, right. You're right. But I thought she was going to be like her lackey for the Moment of Bliss thing. But now she's kind of pairing with Becky. So,
which I kind of like more, to be honest with you.
I thoroughly like that.
Yeah. I think they match more.
Irish and Scottish. I like that idea of them because there's already an inherent distrust between them countries-wise.
I didn't even think about that.
Of course, it's perfect.
And the end, and I hate to jump ahead, but that ending part when Nikki was looking at the belt when Becky was holding it up.
Nikki's next.
If they were to... The smart move would absolutely be to have all of this have been like Nikki was plotting. She attacks Becky, and we go into Becky versus Nikki, and Nikki's a hardcore heel, like she was before, crazy.
Right.
All the let's play, let me play type of stuff. That would be so much better.
Yep. This match was okay. It was passable.
Yeah, it wasn't anything special.
But once again, they don't really put a stamp on anything, these Iconics, and they take the loss again. They have not won since WrestleMania, I don't think.
No.
So this is insane to me what they're doing to these belts and what they're doing to these ladies here now. I almost, and this is crazy for me to say this now, I'm almost starting to feel sorry for them because they keep taking these losses and they don't let them like get in the ring and fight long matches and show improvement and get the fans behind them. And they give me more ammunition to be like, well, see, this is why you never should have given them the belts anyway. So I think it's just a big mistake.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think it is a mistake. Got that off my chest.
Maybe Peyton and Kay won't hate me so much now. They were on some thread, and Peyton goes, "Why should I be on this thread?" And I was like, "Ooh."
"Oh, really?"
Yeah, she did. "Why am I on this thread?" And I was like, "Oh, this thread got away from me. This ain't got nothing to do with me anymore. I may have commented on something, but they tagged you. I never tagged her, so I never tagged them."
I hate those cops that tag people and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to tag the person, I want to tag the person. Asshole.
Exactly.
Like,
it was like 40 comments down. She goes, "Why am I on this thread? Why am I being tagged on this thread?" And
also,
I was like,
I'll say this much.
Yeah.
Twitter making the replies automatic to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it used to be when you replied to that person,
Right.
but now when you reply, it's to everyone who happened to be. That was one of the biggest mistakes that Twitter ever made.
Oh, yeah.
And it's what's caused so much discourse on the internet, I think, because before it was like you just wanted one person.
Yeah.
And if you really wanted to tag all these other people, you could.
Right.
But it wasn't like automatically going to tag all the people to like keep a conversation going.
Exactly.
One of the worst things Twitter did.
Yeah.
Wish they could get rid of that.
Editing is the other one they need to get.
But it's got to be only in a short window.
Right.
Like a minute. You have a minute to fix this tweet.
Yep.
Because like it's a typo. Let me fix the typo instead of deleting it, redoing it. Minute. Because I know that everyone's like, well, then if something gets 1 million retweets and then someone changed it to be like something racist, it looks like everybody, like 1 million people retweeted something racist.
Point.
So that's like what everyone's worried about is like a bunch of people retweet something and then it gets edited to say something bad and it looks like you retweeted something terrible.
Great point.
So short window.
Okay.
2 minutes maybe max.
Yes. Yep.
The Riot Squad, the Iconics. I miss the Riot Squad.
Remember them? Buried, like I told you.
Not buried. They just haven't been used. Ruby's injured.
Oh,
She's out with injury. She's gonna be out for a while.
All right.
She has some dual shoulder surgery like Sami Zayn had. So she's gonna be out for a while. But Liv, put her on SmackDown. Anyways, this match really wasn't anything that special.
This did nothing for Becky.
Honestly,
damn thing.
Here was my thing when watching this. Everyone just felt lost.
Yep.
They don't know what they want to do with Becky anymore. They don't know what to do with Nikki. And Iconics are just losing every time they're in the ring after winning at WrestleMania, completely invalidating their big win.
It really is.
So, as much as I like all the people in this match, I just felt like, what are they doing with all these people? Like, make something cool happen. You know, nothing cool is going on. And and I hate to keep talking about AEW, but that was one of the things that it was less for me a love of professional wrestling and more like, hey, wrestling can be cool.
Right.
And honestly, I've had 5 people walk up to me in the office today and be like, hey, how was Double or Nothing? Or what? Almost interested. I never have that happen with WWE pay-per-views.
Right.
So it's interesting to me that people saw that and were like, hey, how was that? Was that thing cool? Because it does have that kind of sense of cool. And yes, you are very right. It is very hard to keep that sense of cool for a year.
It's a new thing.
It's a new thing. People are excited with a shiny toy or whatever, but like still.
Yeah.
There was something cool about this. You know, it was just kind of like a thing that we were watching. And that's not what I want my TV shows to be.
No, I don't disagree with you. Well, throughout all this whole night, we should hit him now. There were all these vignettes inside of Memorial Day barbecue that was happening, and old grudges were put away at least for a day with Tamina and Naomi making up, and then Dash and Wilder going up and talking to the Usos, them doing some stuff. Then R-Truth rolls in with that 24/7 title, trying to claim he's not that. And poor EC3 just sitting there all completely morose. And then all this stuff breaks out, people trying to find and get that title, blah, blah, blah. So all the vignette was happening there was just filling in time.
Definitely a time filler. I also feel like this was one of the worst barbecue type things they've done.
Yeah.
They went back to Usos and Revival playing cornhole. They made you feel depressed for EC3. They turned Tamina face for some reason.
Yeah. I guess because Nia's not coming back for a bit.
And then... yeah, just in general, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, get it. It's Memorial Day, they're barbecuing, but I don't really think there was any hugely funny moments or anything that exciting about it.
Yeah, just the 24/7 stuff. But
even that wasn't that exciting. It was like kind of like, it's like, okay.
Yeah, you had to throw it in there.
You had to. You knew right when you saw it, that's where that was leading to.
Yeah.
But even that wasn't that fun.
Well, we mentioned pay-per-view level matches. Certainly Cesaro and Ricochet were pay-per-view level. This was fantastic. I really love how much Cesaro is embracing the new music, embracing the new look, coming in. Great back for some incredible moves from Ricochet that Cesaro totally rolled with, and some scary moves. And all of it working out to where Ricochet gets the pin, but a well-earned pin, and no controversy here, I don't think. So it was fantastic all around.
Well, one of the things I saw people saying was like the whole 50-50 booking thing of like trading wins. But to me, I didn't mind it here because I felt like last week Ricochet was not 100%. This week he's back 100%. He got his win back, and I'm hoping that now we're going to get the rubber match between the two at the next pay-per-view or whatever. So it didn't bother me at all. I liked it. I loved the match. I think that, like you said, they're kind of doing this whole new thing with Cesaro, and I like they're putting him against small guys because it reminds me of like PWG Cesaro, where he was like, and I didn't go see him live there, but from the matches I've seen, it was a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Fun, flippy, lucha kind of stuff. And so he's perfect for that. He's so strong that it works perfectly. I mean, that finish was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I know it was just a Hurricane Rana, but the way he did that, where he rolled up from the outside, from the ground on the outside up to Cesaro's shoulders, Cesaro walking in and then doing it. That was up there for one of the spots of the past few days, between that and the Phoenix thing at Double or Nothing, where he did like the back kick up on the top of the rope and then did the Hurricane Rana off the rope as well. It was a crazy maneuver. It's hard to explain, but it was awesome.
Yep.
But this was awesome. I mean, I think that Cesaro and Ricochet are both so talented. They both work at another level. Those guys can go. I think that it was very smart. Out of everything that had happened up to this point, I was like, this is what they should have started the show off with. I mean, they should have shown that, like, hey, you can watch good wrestling here too. And this was one of those things where you're like, okay, as a pro wrestling fan, this is what I've been waiting for on this show. I mean, those are two of the most talented wrestlers in the world.
Right.
And they showcased it last night.
Yeah. Fantastic moves, like I said. So I hope it leads to something. You said the rubber match, but I also hope it leads to titles down the road for both of them.
I want to
lay
in
the groundwork.
Give them best of 7 like they did with Cesaro and Sheamus.
At the beginning.
This is one best of 7 match I would be cool with watching. Like, let them go. I mean, we've already got 2 of them down. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, man, when Cesaro did that uppercut and Ricochet just went like flying into the corner, awesome.
Right.
So many awesome
on the neck. Oh, it was insane.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I said awesome way too many times just now, but it was, I mean, I can't think of another word to describe it, because it was just like, while watching it, I was just so like amazed at all the things that were going on in the match. I was just like, this is what I am talking about.
Right.
Like, this is the stuff I watch wrestling for, you know?
Yep, and you could have seen that in an AEW match. Those are those kinds of wrestlers that can be in AEW.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So you see the mix that's happening with the WWE is they've got that combo of the top heavy stuff and the stuff that appeals to the indie wrestlers. So, but the problem is that the top heavy stuff doesn't match the quality most of the time of what you're seeing from these independent wrestlers who come into the WWE. That's the unfortunate
Independent
truth.
style.
Independent style. Sorry.
Yeah.
Independent style. That's the unfortunate truth of the situation you have issues with. Real quick, Triple H taking on Randy Orton randomly at Super Showdown. They're going back all the way to 2003. I saw this promo already many times. We know they've had battles, but I guess they're trying to get people to remember back all the way back 15 years, 16 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought the same thing while watching. Like, who doesn't know this? And then when I saw the last one, I was like, God, that really was a long time ago, that whole thing. I was like, I guess there probably is a lot of people watching this who aren't super aware of that history.
Right.
And you know what? It was put together well.
Yeah.
I as much as I rolled my eyes at it, too, I go like, well, we get it. We just had Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania.
So it's going to go through all of
and
evolution.
This is supposed to exceed WrestleMania or be the same or whatever, as good as WrestleMania or better or whatever they said in the promo. So I was like, of course, now we have another Evolution match to show like this is our WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. But still, I thought that because it hasn't really been hyped very much on TV, I thought that it did do a good job of like, all right, you know what? I'm ready for another Randy Orton Triple H match. I'm cool with it.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
He'll probably fight Ric Flair next. Just finish off everybody in Evolution and be done with it. All right, so we get promos from Strowman. We get promos from Baron Corbin, who comes in and attacks AJ, who can't be part of the four-way match. Is this a real injury or is this a storyline injury?
I didn't hear about it till last night, so I'll have to do some digging.
Okay. So it's Braun Strowman taking on The Miz.
I'm going to say no, though, since he got attacked.
Right. And Miz had a weird-ass promo as well. I just, the whole thing like this, I was like, oh, man.
I low-key liked it.
What?
Simply because...
Really? Okay.
Simply because he said something in it that I thought he has needed to say for so long if they plan to make him a face. And that is him saying he needs to earn things. Before, it was very much like he was fueled by anger and stuff.
Right.
But the Miz character is so... cocky. And the Miz character by nature thinks he's the best. Right. And so the one thing I liked about the Miz's promo is that he finally said like, I need to earn my stuff. Or I forget exactly how he worded it, but he mentioned needing to earn things. And I was like, that's what a face would say. Right. And I felt like he's been acting, they've been wanting him to be a face, but I don't think he's been doing face things necessarily.
Yeah.
That was one of the first times where I was like, okay, his character is looking for redemption.
Right.
To show he is a nice guy. It's growing on me a little bit. However, I don't think he is a strong enough face to be holding the full match together. Braun Strowman is also a little bit damaged. I like Braun Strowman personally, but I don't know. This match felt a little flat to me.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was going to be like one of those epic matches between these four ways we've been seeing lately. And this one didn't quite live up to the billing. And I think it's because Lashley's limited, Strowman is limited, Corbin isn't really over with the fans, and Miz doesn't know where he belongs amongst these four. So you saw them all giving their best. I don't think you could argue the effort of the match. It's the overall result of the match that wasn't that exciting. It wasn't that thrilling. I knew Corbin was going to win from the beginning. I just had a feeling because they got to give Seth a victory here. Corbin will give him a good match. It's Superstar Showdown. Probably a lot of people, not as many people are going to watch this as they do other things. So so Seth wins, Corbin gets a title shot. It fills the void. We move on to the next thing. So it wasn't a surprise to me. Lashley's not ready. Strowman would be too big of a match to have at Superstar Showdown. And the Miz thing, I think they're saving that until later. So this makes the most sense.
Yeah, it does make the most sense. I thought it was very silly that they hyped it as an elimination match the whole time. Yeah. And then had one pin in the match.
I thought it was.
And it was over.
I thought because Corey Graves, whoever said, well, you got to get rid of the first two guys. And I'm like, wait. So this is one by one? Is this how this going?
They said multiple times that it was going to be an elimination match. And then apparently I didn't hear, but they said that like Braun and Lashley eliminated themselves for going out of the arena. But they never said, most four-way matches are no DQ, no count out. So they never said that was like, that's never been a thing.
That's so weird.
So it's very confusing the way they did that. This match left a little bit to be desired in my opinion. As much as I think I like all the guys in it.
Right. Then we get ourselves a nice little Bray Wyatt vignette. And the kids thing was really weird and unsettling. I didn't like that, to be honest with you. That's kind of strange. And then we get more with him in the mask and talking to saying that she's a bully or whatever.
Well, and
Sister Abigail or Abigail the Witch. Or
oh
whatever.
Yeah. I was gonna say I also loved when Abby came out and said that she's being trapped in there.
Yeah,
I thought that was a nice little. I feel like, I like when they're kind of like piece by piece building this, and we're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
this was the first time where Abby, who is Sister Abigail, has basically said that she's stuck in his head.
Yeah,
right, because that was the first indication to me that this is in his head.
Right,
these are all in his head. He's in a mental institution or something like that, and these are all things in his head. He's saying like, "Let me in," so I'm guessing like he's trying to get out of this mental institution or something. I don't know, but I thought that was a very interesting development. Yeah, the "let me in" thing, or the Abby saying, "Let me out of here." I'm trapped. I want to get out of here. Right? She said something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
I also like that we got back. We kind of got the spider walk again when he had the limbo thing. They're definitely getting darker, these things, and I love that they're getting darker. I'm very intrigued to see where these go.
Yeah,
very much intrigued to see where they go.
Yeah, you can't mess this up. Like, you can't mess this up. Like, you got to hit this note perfect because people are getting excited about it. Are you going to do what's right and give him a match that is of quality or a push that is of quality? If you start out having him squash people, I'm going to be super fucking mad. You got to find something really good for him to come out of this situation and go toe-to-toe with somebody and destroy them.
What's the next big pay-per-view? Not like the next pay-per-view. What's the next big pay-per-view? Where are we right now? That's what I was trying to figure out. Where are we right now? April, May, June, July, SummerSlam. Yeah, SummerSlam.
Right? Yeah.
Do you think they can stretch this out to SummerSlam to when his first match is back? Is at SummerSlam?
There's so much going on that I think they can.
Me too.
Because they'll spend 3 weeks having him like do something towards the person he wants to fight in the match. So that sets up the match and then the match being signed.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems to make the most sense at this point.
So coming back like a few months before, like a month and a half or something like that before SummerSlam.
We're almost out of May. We're into June almost. We're not that far from June.
You're right. So June, July, August. Yeah, you're right.
It's got to be set up that way, I think. Yeah.
I can see his big match, his big return match happening at SummerSlam in like a marquee match type thing. I'd love it.
Right.
I think the mask looks scary. I even liked how he said he hides behind the masks to, when he I forget his exact wording, but I liked it. I was about it.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. This was a really good vignette.
I agree. It was better than the one last week. So
very much so.
I was very happy to see them come back, and I think they figured out, let's not do that from last week. Let's get a little more focus on the darker stuff. All right, well then, Corey Graves got himself a show, unbeknownst to anybody in the world, and says it's called The Electric Chair, which I don't understand.
Terrible name.
It's stupid. What is he? What was he known for? Was he known for executing people or doing something? It was
his other show was Culture Shock.
What was his finishing move? Was it some kind of electric chair? Is it an execution type thing?
I don't think so.
Then I don't understand this at all. It's stupid. So Sami Zayn comes out as his first guest and does his ska thing all the way down, falls down the ramp, sits down, and then answers questions from the fans. Now, what's your bet on this? Were they questions from the fans that were given to the fans, or are they legitimately random questions and they just grab people out of the audience?
I think on this one, they legitimately grabbed people out of the audience to ask them. It seemed a lot different than the other one.
Yes.
The ones they had done before. I forget who was with. I think it was Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, Moment of Bliss, right.
When they were asking, those were clearly plants.
Yeah.
These ones did not feel like plants. The little girl owning Sami Zayn.
She was hilarious.
Hilarious when he was like, "You mean me and Becky Lynch?" And she was out of nowhere here. Well, duh. That was great. My guess is the reason they gave live microphone to the audience was they expected one of those people to ask about All Elite Wrestling.
Right.
And Sammy was told what he could say about All Elite Wrestling. And then when they didn't, he knew there was going to be one last one, he just threw it in there because he was shocked that someone else didn't.
What'd you think about that?
The AEW shout out? Okay, so like, I loved it, first of all.
Okay.
I love the Attitude Era kid inside of me.
Yes.
Loved it.
Okay.
Because I go, oh man, like Cody is slamming Triple H thrones. Sammy's calling out AEW on Raw.
Right.
They're back. They got a competition. They got someone to fight against. But I know that's not the case.
Right.
I know that there is such a long road ahead before we ever get back to that again.
Yeah.
However, there are shots being fired and it's fun to watch. if I were WWE, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. You know, I think that there's a lot of people watching WWE who aren't aware of AEW. There's so many people. I mean, I looked at the Google Trends afterwards, and it like doubled their traffic for search traffic in AEW. People going, what is AEW? You know, so for that, I go like, I wouldn't have done it. However, I could also see that WWE might want competition again. Yeah. You know, I could see them being like, great, this is good for everybody. Competition makes us all work at our best. I'm sure people in WWE missed having competition because they've just been fighting with themselves and being yelled at by Vince McMahon. And I'm sure they're like, yeah, let's do this. You know, like this is fun. This is what we all used to love 20 years ago, you know? So it's twofold. You know, like, yeah, maybe they wanted to put some shine on AEW because they want to have some competition because it does bring out the best in everyone. It does. At the same time, it does look a little bit like they're gotten to. Yeah. Like, you know, like it does just seem, you know, like Vince scripted that to be like, well, I'm not a bitch, you know, I'm not a bitch. Go out there and talk about AEW. Like, don't make them. Yeah. So I'm working on it, obviously, but if I had to guess, I mean, 90% chance that was scripted. 95% chance that was scripted. I don't think Sami Zayn is going out there dropping the competition. Right. He would get in major trouble, and they wouldn't just release him. He would be buried. It would be bad. He would get icy hot in his. Although it does make him although it does make him like a martyr if they, you know, for the rest of his contract, and then he could, you know, at the end when he comes out, like, look what they did to me type stuff. So you also don't want to maybe do that either. But all that aside, I think that. It was the most interesting part of the show. Got people talking the most. But yeah, it had to have been scripted. I mean, there's no way it wasn't scripted. Of course it was scripted. I mean, of course it was. I mean, AEW, they're firing shots. I mean, in that, you know, we posted the video on the YouTube channel here of Dustin Rhodes after Double or Nothing, and he straight up said Vince better watch his ass. Yeah. Like, he was like, these guys are coming for him. Like, these guys want to take over the world, and Vince better watch his ass. And I mean, I think Vince has always kind of been a, you know, petty, cocky kind of dude. And, you know, he's got bravado, you know, and I think that they clearly were calling him out. I mean, it was like, hey, we own professional wrestling. Nobody owns professional wrestling. You know, Vince hates that because Vince thinks that he is professional wrestling. So, I think that it looks like they're gotten to a little bit. It doesn't look like Sami, to me, doesn't look like Sami was working, you know, doing a shoot here. Yeah. I think it looks like Vince was a little gotten to. Well, the thing is, over the weekend, before we left for our Memorial Day plans, I had a couple hours and I was randomly in front of the television just like working on stuff on the computer, and I watched the XFL documentary again, the 30 for 30 documentary. If you haven't watched that XFL documentary, that's a window into Vince McMahon that you're rarely going to see. Oh, yeah. On so many levels, all right? And you get a taste of what this guy actually thinks about himself, sees the media as, and thinks about his product and how dedicated he is to it, and also how willing he is to drop it once it ain't working. That's one of the keys to Vince. Vince is smart in that way. He gets there eventually. He may not get there on the timetable you think he should, but he gets there eventually. And when he does, he's determined, it's done, and he moves on. That's the thing when you're watching this XFL documentary. Do yourself a favor, watch it on ESPN+. It'll give you a good understanding of how he may handle this situation. And don't be surprised if down the road, if they really start to blow the doors off things, they'll make adjustments. Vince could steal some of their talent as well. He's got deep pockets. The other side of the situation is that Vince may step down and Triple H may take over. And now you have Triple H versus Cody Rhodes going at it. That would be exciting. See, in my opinion, the battle is Cody Rhodes versus Triple H already. Oh, okay. Vince is like big boss. Okay. To me, I feel like that's already the battle. Big boss. Yeah. You know, like, I feel like AEW has to conquer NXT before they tackle WWE. That's fair. You know, AEW, you know, the cool, hip, young brand, the comparable thing would be NXT because that's Triple H's thing, and that is kind of like the thing that he'll go like, that's what wrestling should be, you know? And they're going to come in with something different than NXT. So to me, I think the real battle is going to be AEW versus NXT before we get to AEW versus WWE. Like, and there were no female matches at Double or Nothing. There was two of them. There were two of them? Who were the matches? There was Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray versus Awesome Kong.
Oh.
And then there was a 6-woman tag match with all the Joshi talent.
Okay, all right. I didn't watch those, so I didn't know that they were on there. Okay, cool. But so you see some of that comes forward as well. This is their approach as well. So you're right. NXT is the legitimate next step. I think they've got the talent and the firepower to destroy NXT and then start moving on to something else. SmackDown is the possibility.
NXT has a deep roster. I mean, like there's a performance center of guys that you could do another show out of because they don't have enough talent. They don't have enough time on NXT. I truly believe as soon as they announce an air date, an exact air date for TNT,
right?
My guess is they're going to announce an NXT show on Fox Sports 1.
Wow.
And be like, oh yeah, TNT. That's my guess.
All right.
That's my guess. That's just my prediction. I've thought of this whole time.
Khan, I hope you have some deep pockets.
I think it's going to be
a long battle.
I think it's going to be an hour show on Fox Sports 1 and an hour show on the WWE Network. NXT, like 2 hours of NXT, one on each. That's my guess.
Interesting. All right. We'll see if TNT gets a streaming service. Then they'll do 1 hour plus on something.
They have one.
Do they?
Bleacher Live. That's
their streaming service?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. How interesting. Okay, I thought Bleacher Report Live was its own thing. All right.
They're both owned by Warner Media. So yeah, Bleacher Report Live is where like AEW stuff's going to air.
It's not pitched as a TNT streaming service. It's pitched as a Bleacher Report for.
Well, they're both owned by Warner Media, though.
Right. I get that, but it's not pitched that way. You know, like Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So, that's why I was a little confused by that. Well, that's curious to see.
Yeah, they've got one. They've got one. They've got one.
I like this idea. All right. Well, so there's a lot to come. Of course, obviously, it ends with Rollins taking on here Sami Zayn in an impromptu championship match. Rollins ends up winning this thing while getting his leg injured before the Superstar Showdown that's coming up, and we'll see how Corbin and that match gears up. But I think they did that to maybe make people think the Lesnar was coming out, but then he never did, and the show ends.
The leg thing?
Yeah,
I know. They like.
It was weird.
I thought,
Why is it injured?
I 100% thought that's what they were going to play off of, and then Kofi was going to come out and like, no, me, and they were going to go off him like, I'm not doing anything to you guys, but instead they didn't. Sammy really is becoming a highlight of these shows.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, his new character for me has landed.
Yep.
You know, even though they've had some stumbles with the whole Braun Strowman thing, I really feel like his promos just feel so natural. Even when he dropped the AEW line, people were like, "Oh, did he actually say that on his own?" That's when you know something's working because people don't know if it's real or fake. Right. And I think that Sammy is really nailing this character. And then when you let him have competitive matches afterwards, where he's not just getting squashed, it really backs it up. You know, I think that, you know, this match, the matches that on Smackdown show that like this new heel Sami Zayn character is very effective in the main event scene. And, I like him. To me, he's one of the most natural heels that can back it up in the ring right now, in WWE at least. And
by natural, and also one of the most charming guys. Like people, he is over with the fans, heel or face. It doesn't matter. The fans love him one way or the other, and it's great to see him get this run.
And he's really good at turning them too. Like if they're into him too much, he's good at like doing something to turn it on them a little bit so that they don't cheer for him too much. Because I mean, you can't. He is a likable guy, but and he's saying things that you like. A lot of people probably agree with. So. Yeah, I think everything about this character is great right now. I didn't mind him losing because it was such a good match.
It's a good match.
Even the way they did like the stomp and then he had to like do, you know, his leg was hurt and he had to like do it again. It made Sami Zayn, he didn't lose in a weak way or anything like that. And he's wrestling the WWE champion and the Universal champion on every show. So I think that it's great for him right now.
But definitely pushes him up the ladder. So there you go. All right, well, that's our Raw recap for this day. Thanks everybody for watching here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Ryan, you want to tell them where they can watch and read everything we do?
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website. At Wrestling Sheet on social media. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where you can find all the videos that we do here at Wrestling Sheet. You can find the Raw and Smackdown recaps with Rocha and myself. You can find Wrestling Sheet Radio with my friends that we do. It's Elijah Bates and Jamie Iovine that we do. We talk about the top stories in wrestling. I will be doing a Double or Nothing review with Jen Sturger later today. And there's also a bunch of press conference videos that took place after Double or Nothing where I was in the media scrum. So it's the first. Really, I mean, I know it's only like a minute and a half, but it's the first interview with Dean Malenko since he left WWE.
Nice.
There's Dustin Rhodes where he talks about the thing I said, where he said Vince better watch his ass. There's a full like 11-minute interview with Tony Khan where he talks about a lot, and there's a lot of information in there, lots of good stuff. Can't recommend it enough, so go check out the one with Tony Khan. There's also a quick one with Hangman Page as well, where he talks about his upcoming match now against Chris Jericho and all sorts of other things, so make sure you guys go check that out. youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. Subscribe while you're there, like the videos, comment. I read them all, I respond sometimes, but make sure you guys are doing that. It helps me out a lot. Also, if you just want to listen to the audio of things, you can find it on most major podcast platforms. Just search Wrestling Sheet Radio.
Yeah, there you go. And one thing I enjoy was that picture you posted of all those people at the gorilla position.
That's cool.
That was a fantastic shot.
Yeah, that was from being the Elite this week. Very cool.
Very cool. I so enjoyed seeing that, seeing how many people are involved and invested in this thing working, and so many good minds involved in it as well. So there you go. You can follow Ryan at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And tomorrow we'll be back with a SmackDown Live recap. This will be interesting to see how they respond, possibly some AEW stuff. We'll see. That seems more of akin to me in comparison, so we'll see how they bring their best out. All right, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Tuesday.
ProWrestlingSheet.com